Hello, Dandies. As you can see, this is a very special episode. I'm quite overwhelmed, actually. I've never had so many people in the same room talking to me, at least willingly. But, of course, this is the special episode we've been talking about for the past week or so regarding, essentially, what to look out for in a fake recruitment agency or any sort of fake recruitment, and essentially how to avoid it. But you can see I'm definitely not on my own. Excuse me if my fingers go in wrong directions. I'm mirrored. But to my left, we have matron Champy, of course, one of our returning, well, they're all returning guests, but matron Champy here, someone I used to work with, who moved on to bigger and better things. We have Trish down the bottom here, of course, one of the initiators of Braving Britain. Of course, she's part of NHS Recruitment, so definitely someone that knows recruitment well. And then joining me on my right, my hand vanishes behind her head, but it's fine. This is Fabiola, who you may remember from our discussions about the WHO countries. And of course, her lovely colleague and co-conspirator below us is Steph there. And both of them work in the same agency, doing an absolutely cracking job. You've probably seen their posts on the Facebook group. But I will open the floor to whoever wants to discuss how to be recruited over here correctly. Who would like to take?
I don't mind going first.
Go for it. So when it comes to overseas recruitment, how do we do it properly?
So the first thing first is you should not be charged a fee. So recruitment to the UK for nurses is completely free. The trust or the organisation or the agency will be supporting you with all your tests, your NMC registration. There'll be a package in place to support you with all that financially. So not only is it for free, but we will be financially helping you to get to the UK as well. You need to come to the UK through the NMC process, where you need to pass your English test, then your CBT, and have your NMC verified. And at that point, you're able to deploy to the UK. The trust or your employer will be sponsoring you on a work visa. So it's a health and care worker visa. There's no other route that they'll be bringing you through. It will be through that working visa, and that will give you full working capacity in the UK for however long that visa is for. Things to watch out for is where somebody is offering a student visa or any other type of visa to come to the UK to get you here quickly. That will be down a different route, and you will be restricted in your working patterns.
Sure, absolutely. Is that something that you girls in Global Medical have dealt with yourself?
We've had, for example, we've had nurses come over who self-fund their OSCE. So they come over on a visiting visa, but they have to go back home to apply for their visa. So we get a lot of nurses that, especially you'll find from the developing countries as well, that will come over on a visiting visa and hope that they can secure a job and stay here. But you can't. You have to go back home and do your visa process because it's a visiting visa. But yeah, we haven't had too many on the student side. But yeah.
No, that's fine. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're in one of the WHO developing countries, of course, you have got limitations on how you can apply. We've tackled that a couple of times, both with Global Medical Pro and just independently. I mean, I know when it comes to WHOs and the limitations and stresses therein, I know Fabiola is our girl who is dealing with that a lot.
The problem now with that whole list have been in place since 2020, right? Is the nurses are getting absolutely desperate and they're willing to do anything. So initially, obviously, we know it's the lack of knowledge because they don't know what is true, what is right, what is the process. I think we have spent almost 2 years now educating and sharing like how to do, where to apply, what to avoid. But for what I have last 2 months, I will say, maybe even more, the nurses are fully aware of what it is, how to proceed. They have reached a point of desperation that they're ready to sell their house. If anyone, it is actually happened. This is a true story. Someone on the whole list, a nurse, have sold their house, and because have been promised by some X recruitment agency that they can deliver them a certificate of sponsorship for them to travel to the UK. It happened that it was a total scam, so the person obviously have lost everything. But it is happening that there are agencies, there are care homes, I don't know about NHS, but have been putting black or white that they are selling certificate of sponsorship to the homeless candidate. So the issue here is there is no care home, or first of all, agency doesn't deliver certificate of sponsorship. Only your employer can deliver you a certificate of sponsorship, and the process is very strict and there is rules. So you must have been compliant with the NMC, meaning they had to check obviously your whatever is your degree, your certificate, your diploma, to send the document they're requiring through the process. You must have cleared that. You must have been shortlisted for an interview. You must have been successful for an interview. You must have successfully passed the compliance process. Then your employer will go and apply for your certificate of sponsorship. I have per week approximately 300 or 400 candidates, nurses who are matron in really good countries that those nurses are competent and qualified, and they have done all the process. They are OSCE ready. But because they are desperate now, they're telling you, I've been applying for 2 months and nothing come back. They will tell me, I am ready to pay how much you ask me regardless to have a certificate of sponsorship. This, I would say, it is dangerous, but the person is competent. The second are people who are not even part of the healthcare howsoever to just enter it. There are people who doesn't think, they just care about the money, and they deliver a certificate of sponsorship. That's where they will fabricate fake document to get that certificate of sponsorship. That's where it's very, very, very dangerous for me. That's where we need to address it. The most important thing when you start your process is to read. You're going nowhere if you don't read. And the problem is 90% of those candidates, they don't read. You can write anything you want. I'm interested. You're interested to what? They were not a job advert. They were an advice or where to apply. If you read something and you're like, okay, I'm not qualified for this, or this is not for me, you're not apply, so you won't have a no. But if you don't read, how are you supposed to know that? You need to make sure that you look carefully at where to apply, why to apply, if you're qualified for the role. Don't just apply for the sake of applying, and that's what most of them do.
I think as well with the NHS job applications, because if a trust was to put an overseas job application and the closing date, sometimes they get 400 applications within a day and they have to close the application. I know a trust that still has just finished going through applications that were submitted in December. So even though they're having weekly interviews every week and they're utilising they're able to, recruit from the developing countries, it has taken that long to get through all the applications. And what you're finding is candidates as well are, they have another job offer, but they haven't got their COS yet, and they're attending these interviews, and then they get offered the job, and then the other COS comes in, and it is just a game. And it's like, who can get me my COS? I spoke to one of our clients the other day, and they said candidates are blatantly saying it's whoever gives me the COS first, then I'll join them. There's no thought, and then I'll leave. It's honestly, it's crazy.
Someone would literally tell me, I'm doing those interviews like a preparation, but you take someone else slots there who really want that job. This is unfair. When they go apply everywhere and they have 10 interviews and they're successful to 10 interview, and they don't even have the decencies to tell, okay, I want this one, so I'm going to let the other one, I don't want it. NHS don't have an unlimited number of certificate of sponsorship. This is not true. Every NHS have a limit of certificate. If they have exceeded, they have to ask for the government to deliver them more. So when you take 10 interview, you're successful to 10 interview, and you don't let other trusts know, you are actually taking the slot of someone else, because the time that they think you're still going there, they have blocked that certificate of sponsorship. So you have to take the chance of someone else, maybe your sister, you don't know. So everyone have to take the accountability. If you don't want somewhere, don't go there.
No, absolutely. And of course, this is where a lot of the problems lie, where because people are trying to get over here as quick as possible and they're missing these crucial information, people are being able to find places to abuse them, to take advantage of it. And that's the problem, you know. They'll go, oh, well, you know, this NHS trust, sure, you've been waiting 3 months. Well, we can get you there in a week. It's like, you can't. It's not happening.
Those people who will tell you, for example, it is June, and they tell you, I need to be there by the 15th of July. It's not going to happen.
Never.
Anyone tell you otherwise, they're lying to you, because there is a process in place. Even if you interview the next day, the time that you have finished the compliance, that they have applied for the COS, you're waiting for the visa. Now it's at least 4 to 8
6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's up to 6 weeks at the moment. But also there's a delay on TB tests. So nurses that need to, or any candidate that needs to do a TB test, there is a huge delay. We had a candidate today that has asked us to ask our client if they can send an email to confirm that they have to have their TB test by a certain date, because there's like a 6-week delay on TB tests. There's delays everywhere.
Of course.
It's like, yeah.
I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, but it is the truth. The truth is not, you know, fantasy. It's not bad. It is the truth. You do what you want with it, but at least you know exactly how it's going to be. Because the problem is, even for the one who managed to get here, when they are here, like, oh, but this is not what I wanted. This is not what I have imagined. What do I do now? Oh, can you buy me out? I'm like, there is no buyout. There is not, and I really, really have a big problem with buyout, and that's why it vexes me. It's your responsibility. You make that decision knowingly what was like the situation, because most of them know exactly, but they still choose to go forwards. And I always say as well, even when you usually NHS don't do buyout. Most of the trusts I have, they don't know. Most of the time it's nursing home, but there is no buyout. You're just increasing your debt, because when they take you, they will say, okay, maybe if you have 10,000, the COS they're going to apply again. They added that on top. Every other thing they're just going to add up, and average at 10,000. Now you find yourself at 14,000. So have you gained anything? No, you have just created more in-depth debt for you.
Absolutely. And I can see both Champy and Trish nodding quite profusely to all of that. I'm guessing this is something you guys have heard a lot.
Yeah, we have. And me and Champy have been discussing recently, because we've had some nurses that have been approached by agencies, haven't we, Champy, to come over as HCAs or to come over on a student visa as well to get here quicker. And what we always try and encourage is that people come through on the correct route. If you come to the UK as a HCA, you will be working as a HCA or nursing assistant. You will not have the same opportunity to fast track into that nursing role. You will be expected to work as a nursing assistant. So yes, you may be here quicker, but you won't develop as quick into that nursing profession. And I have seen a lot of posts online that I have been trying to tackle, where there's they're reviewing the English standard at the moment with the NMC. Nothing has changed at the moment. Nothing has changed. It's as exactly as we are. But one of the things that they're reviewing is if you have studied at a master's level in the UK, could that be used as your English evidence? Already agencies are looking at bringing people over on those student visas ready for that. but don't do it. It's not changed. It may not even be applicable. The NMC might decide against it because it's all up for discussion at the moment. So don't do it.
Absolutely. They're in talks. They're not signing contracts.
That's very a good point, because I have actually I think even today Steph have received a candidate who was like, oh, but the NMC will have changed. I was like, no, the NMC have started to review it on the 17th of June exactly, and they have said it's going to take 8 weeks. It might not change, and even if it change, it can only applicable maybe in 2023. So why do you even think this is the score you must have? And as well, there is something that I have seen as well, and I think I've done a post about that, about shortcuts. There are nurses now who think they are smarter or they can beat the system by doing the NARIC. But NARIC is specifically for radiographer. It do not work for nurses. Yes, the NMC will clear you because it's still an English proof. You can even pass your OSCE, but you're never going to have a PIN number until you do that IELTS or OET. There is no shortcut. This is what they ask, and this is what you will need to have to get that PIN number. So nurses, TOEFL doesn't work. NARIC or NORIC now doesn't work. NARIC for radiographer. Point blank period. You need to have IELTS or OET and have those scores. Even if you do the OSCE, your PIN number are not going to be released until you have passed that IELTS or OET. So better do it now than later.
Yeah.
And also, we're going back to the NMC when they are reviewing things. I was invited, this was years ago, when they changed it to the OSCE, and then they had changed the CBT. They used to invite people to talk about and discuss the new process. It takes time. It's not gonna, it is a discussion, and someone leaks it online, and then it just, evolves into this, and everyone believes, and, it's as Trish said, it is in the pipeline, it's under discussion. It may not happen, it could happen. It doesn't mean it's going to happen right now.
I'm on that discussion panel at the moment, and like you say, it does take time. It's a very heated debate, and what I can say is all those recommendations won't come in. So all those things that they're discussing, they all won't come in. So they'll be picking and choosing which ones feel appropriate to bring in. So nothing has changed, and that's the main message I want to get across. Nothing has changed at the moment. The other thing is, and I stress this all the time, is please take the English test before the CBT, because the CBT, everybody passes the CBT. It is a basic entry-level test into nursing, so everyone passes it because we recruit qualified nurses who are very experienced. You can't progress anywhere with any visa or anything until you've passed the English test. So don't waste any money spending money on the CBT. Spend it on reviewing the English test, spend it on training, spend it on some coaching, because most organisations will pay for everything else anyway.
Absolutely. And of course, if you don't get the required scores and you think you can come over here as a HCA because the requirements are less, to be a nurse, you still have to get the required English score, so you have to do it again anyway. And if an agency or a recruiter tells you we can get you here without a required English score, please avoid, because that is wrong. And I can see, again, Champy sat over here, bless her, being very quiet throughout this meeting.
Echoing everything you said, because I am trying to, let my nurses know in Sri Lanka what's happening here, how to get over here as a nurse. At the moment, my struggle, I have been doing a lot of work to teach them and to make them aware step by step, quite long time. And now, because of the lot of struggles in Sri Lanka, people just want to come over, and then hundreds of people already have arrived, nurses, as HCA route. Now they are contacting me saying, okay, this is what we not wanted to. Now they are struggling. That's what we are trying to say here, isn't it? Please don't come with that dream to be a nurse. You need to follow the right path, which we are trying to explain. You're right, no one read and no one listen. They're just looking for the quick path. I think all discussions that we are talking here is echoing the same story, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's always the thing. People are desperate to find a better life, and well, companies know how to abuse it. And they know you're going to go for it without reading the small print, because who reads small print nowadays? That's the thing. Nobody reads it. You do a contract upgrade on a phone or anything, you don't read the small print. Facebook gives you one every other week, you don't read it. You just go, yeah, it's fine, I'll agree, I'll sign. And that's how they catch you, because your mind is tunnel vision. You're going, UK, I'm coming to cover the UK, but you're not. You're going to come over here, you're going to pay something you don't need to pay, you're going to get stuck in a job you don't want, or in no job, depending on how they've done it. For as Fabiola stated, with that other candidate, you lost a house, lost everything, starting again from, less than zero, because at least you had a house when you started. Always take the time.
And it can be a very miserable place, a new country, new healthcare system, new culture, and you're on your own. You're not on your own, but if you're not in the job you want to be, you're not with the employer that's going to support you, you've been sold a false dream, and it can be a very lonely place. And yeah, it's not nice.
There is no shortcut, because they're not going to tell you everything.
Absolutely.
But we do.
Yeah,
we're always the bearers of bad news, which is
they will tell you how it is.
Oh, I will tell you all the bad news, and I let you create the fantasy in your head. But me, it is worse. And when you come, actually, Fabiola, you were saying, but it's smooth. I was like, yeah, no, I prefer you think it's gonna be bad. So when you come, it's good. That the other way around. I need to prepare you for the bad or the worst or whatever situation can happen. So that way you're prepared, you're fully aware. They are the one who is moving, So they need to be aware of everything. Whatever they like it or not, this is how it's going to be.
But I think if the nurses come through the correct route, it is a very positive and supportive route. It is just each step. And I think what we try and get across to people is, don't give up on your dream, but this is the right step. So step 1, English, step 2, CBT, step 3, OSCE. Those are the steps to get through. There's no shortcuts. And if you do it the right way, you'll feel supportive. You'll have support from your families at home. And then when you're ready to come over, you'll have the support from the organisation and the trust as well. So it's a lot less stressful as well for the individual, because they're following the right route.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely spot on. And, going into the final conclusions here before the 3 minutes is up and I have to upgrade to the professional version of Zoom. I still haven't, as you can tell. 1 year's gone, nothing's changed.
I can tell.
Yeah, right. If they're trying to charge you, avoid. If they don't tell you which places they're sponsoring for, such as NHS Trust and that, and they don't want to tell you, avoid. If they claim they can get you over here in a heartbeat, there are processes. It is not going to happen overnight. You're not going to get here next week. You might get here, if you applied now in June, you might get here, end of August, September-ish. And of course, if you are in a developing country listed by the World Health Organization, agencies cannot touch you. And Facebook posts cannot recruit you. If one says PM me, don't, because they can't do anything. And as I say, Global Medical can vouch for that, being an agency. They have to follow the rules. Trish with the NHS can definitely vouch for that, because their Facebook posts are everywhere and they need to follow the same rules. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, the rules are the same. And going into the last minute and a half, does anyone have any last tips or advice? I open the floor to chaos.
Yes. I love the chaos. I'm taking the chaos.
Taking turns, play nice.
Be patient, be persistent, but be patient. It's not because it takes longer that means you're not going to get there. It's when you start being impatient, that where the scammer are there to grab you. You follow on the right route, you will find the trust for you. Be
Good.
patient. You will get there.
Absolutely. I have no idea how much less than a minute we've got.
We'll say goodbye.
So we will say a very quick goodbye. Trish, we will get a follow-up video on this, and I will get everyone's inputs again. This is going to happen again. I'm going to make sure of it. So we'll keep that group together. Make sure you join the Facebook group. Make sure you ask us your questions there. Leave a comment here. Like this video. And we'll see you next time. And say goodbye, lovely ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.